So, in the NBA, so far the Nets' big three have shared the court exactly 7 times out of 36 possible games. That could soon change. The quote from Steve Nash, this week, sometime there's a high probability he can return. That's about Kevin Durant, but what about James Harden? He's not going to play tonight against the Bulls, so that means he will be out 2 straight games with hamstring tightness. Good morning now to Malika Andrews. What's the latest that you're hearing about when we can see both Harden and Durant back on the floor?
Well, Nicole, you mentioned that Steve Nash said there's a high probability that Durant at some point this week will be out on the court. He actually didn't rule it out of the realm of possibility. He said there's an outside chance that Kevin Durant could play tomorrow against the New York Knicks, but wouldn't go as far to say that he's probable to play. He just hasn't been completely ruled out. Perhaps it's a little bit more likely that we see him a bit later in the week. Kevin Durant said a couple of days ago that he felt like his rehab was progressing really well. He felt like he's in a good place, and he's been away from basketball longer than he ever anticipated. As far as James Harden goes, Steve Nash said that they're still grateful that when they did more imaging on his hamstring, it didn't reveal any structural damage. So right now, the Nets are still operating as though this is going to be a relatively short-term absence for him.
Tonight is only the second game that he will have missed with that hamstring tightness. So like I just said, Harden, Durant, and Kyrie Irving, they've been together for 30-plus games, but they've only been on the floor together 7 times. So what is the team saying about getting them back together and building chemistry? I mean, the playoffs are just 6 weeks away.
Right, and in those 7 games, remember, that was before they added Blake Griffin to the mix, before they added LaMarcus Aldridge, who started at center last game. So they're going to be leaning on the fact that these players, at some point or another, many of them have played together before, whether it's in Oklahoma City or DeAndre Jordan playing alongside Blake Griffin with the Clippers. They're leaning on that a little bit, as well as the chemistry that they've built off the court, which they said has really started to ramp up on that West Coast trip they took. That's when Kevin Durant got hurt. That's when they started to get close. But Steve Nash said they want to make sure that as a group on the floor, they face a little bit of adversity before they hit the playoffs. That's our favorite sports buzzword, right? Adversity. But they want that because Steve Nash said that at times, those first-year teams, what stops them from winning a championship sometimes is simply the fact that they don't have that backlog of history together. And that's what this Nets team is missing, and they're going to try to make up for rather quickly.
If you want to double up on the buzzwords, have a conversation about adversity, and then you're just winning across the board. A lot of question marks here with these Nets in terms of people playing together, but Vegas still likes them. The Nets are still favored to win their first title in franchise history. Thanks, Malika.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.